Yorkshire Ripper, and I really, really want. I'm like really close. Okay, so you know what? I'm not gonna finish it, because I still have quite a bit, because I have to write about how terrible the officers were in this case, because I found something out after I had written a good majority of this. I found out what happened with the police officers and the families, and so I'm gonna do a little spiel about that. But I really want to see how many pages I'm at when with my reading one, because you know how I have to put it on size font 13 so I can read it easier.
Mm-hmm. What happened to the other remote?
I don't know.
Were you sitting on it?
I might be sitting on it.
Yep, you were.
I was. Oh my gosh, my butt was covering it.
But trying to eat the remote.
Yeah, it did.
While she was typing today, I made 2 meals.
And she did.
One is broccoli cheddar soup, and the other one is a garlic butter chicken with. I should have went ahead and used the garlic in her butter. I think it would have gave it more flavoring.
Guess how many pages so far the Yorkshire Ripper case is?
25.
Higher.
30.
Higher.
Jesus. So what she's saying is going to be more than one parter here, folks.
It's 36 pages, guys. Ah.
Went to the wrong freaking thing.
So the Yorkshire Ripper, when the time comes, is going to be probably along the lines of 40 pages. I do go on little tirades.
It's 2-parter.
As I get very
It'll have
angry.
to be a 2-parter, 2 or 3 at least.
Yeah, and I get really. It is a long case. It was a 5-year murder spree.
Oh wow.
5-year murder spree. 13 girls killed. 7 confessed to injured. And he was brutal. I will also be honest. One of the victims, I did cry when I heard what he did to her. So it's going to be a fun one. It's at the end of December, beginning of January. So we're going to have a little fun start to the new year. But now we're going to talk about Nan Patterson. Nan Patterson. I don't know why I keep saying Nan Patterson, but it is Nan Patterson. I couldn't remember what that said.
What the crap?
What?
Look at that.
Hi.
When I did the cards. Was it the cards that I did?
I think.
150 views 4 months ago. Wow.
Yeah. This case is the Yorkshire Ripper. And he didn't just kill in West Yorkshire. He killed all over.
Look, there
we are. He kind of was like an all over murder spree. But I will say, heads up, the police are super incompetent in the case. Super incompetent. Can't even do their job properly when they get a lead.
They dum-dums.
They're stupid.
Please, I'm going to cover your butt with a
Idiosas.
Stuffed animal.
And sorry if I look a little bit like a mess. I'm going to overnights.
I want to double check your schedule since they changed mine.
No, mine still says the 12 to 8, but I was told to come in and do a 10 to 7 because they had to switch my schedule around. But my schedule was giving me like 44 hours if they did what they were supposed to.
Yeah, I know.
So they just have to approve the points. So let me pull up the documentation for this case. Let me go through. I have written so much. I am definitely trying to get ahead of the curve. And the fact that I'm already in January is very nice.
Yeah, because starting next month, we're going to start going through the garage.
Yes.
I'm part for me. I want to work outside in. That's just me. I feel if we get the garage straightened out and lined out and get rid of things that we don't need, we'll have more space to move
Stuff into the garage.
stuff into the garage. So that's my mindset. Because soon I'm gonna have to start taking everything down. I mean, the house is gonna be naked.
It is.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all because it's gonna drive me nuts. But
It's a necessity.
yes, it is.
We cannot save moving to the last week.
No, because I'm sitting here like staring at stuff right now, like my little garland that I got from Lowe's. That's gonna come down after Christmas. I'm just gonna take it down.
Yeah.
We have that light if we need it. I don't like sitting in the dark in any room, so I mean we have the kitchen light too to put light in, but it's gonna definitely be weird. I'm so used to moving, it doesn't phase me any because I've moved all my life, so it's like it doesn't bother me, I guess.
Will have I'm gonna have anxiety about the apartment until they tell me that her money is approved.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
until
right.
that is approved, then I will not rest. I will not be like, oh my gosh, we have a place. Until
Yeah,
they're like, her money is approved, you're able to bring the dog, and then I'll be like, okay, I have
yeah.
a place.
And then John and I are going to be putting in our application just to get put on the waiting list, and then we'll
Yeah.
go from there. I mean, we have to wait till what, February, March to find out if there's an apartment.
February,
They
because
said.
it's February, March, April. So they'll be told in February if they're moving out in May, or they'll be told in March if they're moving out in June. Because I
Okay.
told them it's either May or June, so we can either leave early May or leave late
June. Yeah.
May.
Yeah.
So
True.
because we can only move in at the first of the month, we can't move
No.
in halfway through the month. They don't prorate rents.
No. So that's our setup, and I think once we get that set into place,
Everything will fall a lot
everything
easier.
will go like it's supposed to. And
Yeah.
then now knowing we won't have to pay, John and I won't have to pay $1,800 for freaking U-Haul.
Yeah.
Will be even better because
That's like $2,000 in and of itself. That was
yeah, because that wasn't well. Money stresses me. I just don't let it show. I just don't let it get to me. Um, but I think again, getting the garage lined out, that'll make me feel better because I'm like, okay, now we can start going, and we haven't been touching the garage. Our schedules, they keep freaking messing with them. They leave them alone. It'd be great. Stop moving shit around. Stop it. And leave our schedules alone would be great. But I understand why they do it because we're short staffed by 3 people in the morning.
Yeah,
So that doesn't help either. But we're gaining a person, but then our evening is losing a person. So it's like,
and we're not hiring anybody, and we're like, guys, you can't.
Hermione, get out of the tube. You're not a cat. What are you doing, you weirdo? But yeah, so
She does that. It's like she wants to pick a fight.
nobody's in there. Mulan ran out. But yeah, so it's one of those that, and I feel like I haven't accomplished anything because I was just commenting to her, is like, you know what, Thursday I'm doing nothing but cleaning. That's all I'm gonna do.
And don't worry about waking me up because I'm supposed to be off Thursday.
And you're probably not gonna sleep.
So I'm probably not gonna sleep. And if you're doing stuff, it'll probably help keep me awake because I'm not.
Well,
Also, I don't know if I'll
we
be
need to
staying
sleep.
overnights.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'll be overnight still again when I come back on Saturday, or if I'll be back to days on Saturday.
Well, you'll know by the new schedule.
Yeah.
Because that's this week is you're going overnight. So if they haven't, actually your schedule is up now. The new week is up now.
No, no. They don't know how long I'm staying overnights.
Well, but they would change your schedule.
No, because they want to see how much I get done.
Oh, for fuck's sake. They need to either change it or don't change it. And I know my boss is going to see this, so I apologize for the rant. Change it or don't change it.
They're waiting until to see how much I can get done. Because there's, I think, 12 pallets up on the top steel.
Right.
If in the next 3 days I can handle a majority of the pallets up in the top steel, then that'll be easy. I can just finish it in the 3 days. But if I need to do one extra day,
then they'll probably do it Saturday.
Yeah.
But then that means they're going to have to give you Sunday off.
And
Because
then
that'll be a new pay period. So
and
that'll
then I'll
give you
have
Sunday,
Monday,
off,
Tuesday off.
They'll,
Because I'll
they'll
ask.
probably make it Tuesday.
I will ask for that Tuesday off too. I will ask for the extra day. Last time when what was it? This past was it yesterday? I fell asleep at 6 p.m.
I look bloated. Sorry.
I fell
Ate
asleep
pasta.
at 6 p.m. and I woke up at 6 a.m.
I think so.
Yeah. No, and I just passed
No,
out.
yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah.
No,
I passed out. So I need the extra day to sleep to recuperate. Because I may be young, but my body with the
My body telling me no.
yeah, with my health conditions, it
But my
doesn't.
paycheck, my paycheck's telling me yes.
Yes, my paycheck is definitely telling me yes. So we're gonna talk about Nan Patterson and the death of Frank Caesar Young.
Okay.
So it's an interesting case. Case.
You haven't even started yet.
I know it's gonna be a little rough one. It takes place in 1904.
Oh dang! I forgot to change it.
So it's an oldies case.
Shit.
That's okay. The next two cases are oldies
I can't
cases.
change it now.
Well, the next two cases are oldies cases. It's fine.
Okay, we'll go black and white next time.
Okay. So I will say it's an unsolved case because they don't know if it's murder or suicide.
Okay.
Or an accidental death.
Okay.
It has to do with celebrities, Hollywood and New York, and an affair, an extramarital affair, and a cruise and a carriage. It's got a little bit of everything.
Got some fancy finessing to it.
Yeah. So Nan Patterson was born Anne Elizabeth Patterson.
Okay.
She was born in 1882, and she was one of 3 kids. Her parents were John Patterson, who was a real estate developer in and around Washington, D.C. There's nothing really about Nan's mother, but that honestly doesn't surprise me because remember the times.
Yeah.
Women were seen and not heard.
Yeah.
So Anne was born. When Anne was born, her dad was the supervising architect of the Treasury in Washington, D.C. But he resigned when Grover Cleveland became president because he was a lifelong Republican and he refused to hold office under a Democrat.
She needs her table.
Oh, Willow needs her table?
Willow needs her table because we don't have it out. She's looking for it. She wants to make an appearance. Do I drink a Sprite or a Dr. Pepper? You all decide for me. I don't feel like making decisions.
Sprite or Dr. Pepper?
I've been lazy all day. I haven't done shit except for make food. It's kind of still too hot to want to do anything. Granted. They start going into the 60s.
Yeah.
So then there'll be more of me doing stuff. Okay, Willow. Come here, kitty. Come on. Hi, booger butt. Willow, come. Come this way.
Come on. You two are ready. Come on.
Kipper.
Oh, I got you.
It's okay.
I got you.
There you go. Lay down. Good job. Come on. Your Royal Highness, we're waiting on you. Come on. Come on. Make your grand appearance. Go on. And there she is, folks.
Willow has made her appearance.
There we go. She likes her table.
So,
you know we're gonna have the long white table, and if we can get the 3-bedroom one, we're gonna put the white table in there.
Yeah.
So this one can be in there when we do this stuff. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So Nan So Nan's early on life was pretty normal, but things changed in 1898 when she was 16 and she started to date a man named Leon Gaines Martin. He was about 14 years older than her, so he was like in his 30s and she was 16. And while that was okay back then, it still doesn't make it any less wrong.
How was it okay back then?
It just was.
You know, I can't say nothing because
I mean, have you heard what the new thing is? Younger. Oh God, I can't. I don't even want to say it. It makes me feel disgusting saying it. Just
when I did my ancestry, I kind of looked back on the surnames for my mom's last name, right? And it pulled up people. And I sat there and I looked at it, and no joke, there was a couple in there that had a lot of kids. They made poking fun serious. They took it serious because they had a lot of kids. But the age gap
between people,
I was like, what the fart? What? Okay, okay. And yes, now these days, if a female or a male, because it goes either way, finds a silver, what does they call them, a silver fox for a male and a cougar for a female. I was like, okay, that's as good as we're gonna do it. Oh, thank you. Getting licks, getting kisses. Willow, say hi, Willow. Get your butt out of my face, please. Say hi.
yeah.
Tell everybody hi. Look. There.
There's a whole bunch of things that are being said, and it's maybe one of these days I'll bring it up.
Maybe on our Q&A.
Yeah.
Our Q&A, we can do that.
So Nan, he was 30 and she was 16, and still doesn't make it any less wrong. They met in Baltimore, and after 1 year together, they ended up getting married when Nan was 17. Leon ended up taking a job with the San Francisco Railroad, which meant they had to move from New York to California. So she was a just married young woman, and that didn't change the thing she wanted to do. She still wanted to be young. She wanted to be a kid because she still kind of was. She was a girly girl. She liked fashion and theater. And so California was really nice for her because that was like the center of it all back then.
Yeah.
Leon, on the other hand, was not having a blast. Married life was not what he expected. For the first couple of months in San Francisco, they were happy, but then the relationship started to fall apart. Leon had high expectations of a wife, and Nan was not changing. He wanted a wife that was dutiful, obedient, and all the things that were expected of a wife. So he told reporters later on that she was a girl who was of a lively and emotional nature, which to me is like she's a kid. She's a kid.
She technically is a kid. He married her. She's 17, and he was how old? 30, 31?
Yeah.
So
she was of a lively and emotional nature.
It's a 14-year difference.
Yeah. And she's of a lively and emotional nature. That is stupid.
Dude, you're not going to be able to keep up with her. That's the issue. She's so freaking young. She's got more energy than you. And that's what you want? I mean, good for you. You by all means do what you need for yourself. But
if you want somebody who is not that way, marry another adult. Don't marry a child.
Yeah, because then even at that age, she doesn't know what and I may be wrong. She may have known what she wanted. She may have.
No, well, we will get there.
But don't marry, like she's saying, don't marry somebody that's a child still, and you're 14 to 20 years older than they are because you got your life planned out. They don't.
So because she wasn't docile and obedient, he started drinking heavily.
Oh yes, let's blame her for your drinking, I bet.
And also gambling, and that led to the relationship going downhill faster. This resulted in a year after they first moved in them getting separated, and years later they got a divorce. Nan cited desertion as the reason for the divorce.
Okay.
Leon challenged this assertion, and he told the judge that his wife had the stage fever, and because inordinately fond of dress that he could not afford to give her the luxury she wanted. Stage fever meant she was an actress.
Right.
So she couldn't rely on her husband anymore for financial support in 1901. So basically she's like, he can't provide for me, and he's like, she has stage fever and she likes the fancy dresses. I ain't paying for it.
Then why'd you marry her? Come on. Young girls that age, and you being
the fact they refer to
older
it as stage
age
fever.
that you are, you should expect that they're going to want stuff.
The fact they called it stage fever.
I mean, granted, I want things, but I'm pretty content with the stuff I have. Still pissed off they didn't have my chicken, Christmas chicken. Hobby Lobby. It's a mission. It is
It is a
literally a
mission.
freaking
Ever
mission.
since I've known her, she's had a mission to find a Christmas chicken.
We'll have a Christmas pig, a Highland cow, and a Christmas cow. I need a Christmas chicken. And right now, Wilbur, Hamish, and Bessie are all looking at me.
So she couldn't rely on her husband anymore for financial support in 1901. So she auditioned for the Florodora Girls. They were a traveling troupe of chorus girls born out of late 19th century stage plays Florodora. I will say a quick little fact.
Because I'm a little confused what a Florodora is.
They're a chorus girl. They're a chorus like
singers,
kind of like kind of dancers, singers, performers.
Okay, that makes more sense. Okay.
So all of the chorus girls, so all the people in the troupe, girls in the troupe, had to be exactly 5'4" and had to weigh 130 pounds. All of them.
I'm 5'2". Do I count?
They also had to personify feminine beauty.
I don't weigh 130 pounds. I mean, I could probably get there, just not eat or whatever.
But they also had to, so they had to personify feminine beauty. So she became a member of the Florodora Girls. She toured the country, and she went by the name of Nan Rudolph, which was her stage name.
Right.
They performed everywhere, California, Georgia, and New York, and she did that from the summer of 1901 to the spring of 1902. And that's when she went back to California in April or May of 1902, and she started to live with her sister in San Francisco. And this was around the time that she met a man named Caesar Young. This is the man that sadly dies, as we can all guess. Frank Caesar Young was born in Surrey, England in 1867.
Surrey.
Again, she was born in 1881 and he's born in 1867. Little bit of an age difference.
What is going on?
So he came to the U.S. in 1980 as an amateur athlete. In 10 or so years before he met Nan, he had amassed a fortune. He had become a successful gambler, bookmaker, and notable man about town. Caesar was a horse trader. He traveled around the country and then he was on his way to California in the fall of 1902 when he met Nan on the train. Now, a New York prosecutor would tell a jury in 1904 that Young was a man who exercised a singularly great who exercised a sick and singularly great influence on women.
Okay.
Caesar was immediately taken with the beauty of the beautiful, vivacious Nan on the train.
Oh, now she's vivacious.
So much so that they couldn't even wait for the train to reach California before getting together more closer in a very special way. They had to stop in Chicago.
I like how you describe that in a more special way. You make it sound so delicate in a more special way. Oh, that's good.
So they stopped in Chicago.
In my head, I'm sitting there thinking, oh, they fornicated. That's just what my head went to.
I was trying to be flowery.
Nope. They got right to it.
So they stopped in Chicago instead of going all the way to California, and they had an afternoon tryst in a hotel. So when Caesar and Nan got back on the train in Chicago, they registered as Mr. and Mrs. Francis Thomas Young. But there was a little bit of a problem. Caesar was already married to a woman in New York.
Oopsie. Uh-oh.
Now, Nan was also not officially divorced at this time. She was separated again, right, but not divorced. So, now, at this time, it is unknown if he told Nan he had a lady. So, we're not sure about that. So, for the 2 years that followed, Nan and Caesar carried on an affair with little regard for secrecy, and they just spent time together whenever they could. After Caesar's death, many papers said it would have been useless for him to deny that he was infatuated with the woman. Because he didn't care that he was married or that Nan was married, he was definitely infatuated. He was like head over heels for this woman. Less than a year into the affair, Caesar ended up paying for Nan's divorce from Leon And on April 30th, 1903, she became a single woman again.
Okay.
So Caesar's work allowed him to travel, and his investments in California needed him to spend quite a bit of time there and in and around the San Francisco area. So there was plenty of opportunities for them to see each other. And despite Caesar being a decade older than Nan,
I like how they say a decade.
they carried on like lovers in their 20s.
Oh my gosh.
They would spend evening together at restaurants and Sacramento cafes in Los Angeles. They were living their best life possible. So, according to the district attorney, Caesar was a heavy drinker and would, quote, frequently at the track drink 30 glasses of beer, and every morning he would have 3 or 4 drinks of brandy with breakfast.
What is it with you and drinkers, man? Did not learn anything from the first one?
So while Caesar's wife, Margaret, ended up finding out about the affair, and she had been ignoring his affair, but by the spring of 1904, after 2 years of the affair, she was tired of it. She decided that she wasn't going to take it anymore. In March of 1904, Caesar and Nan took a trip to Berkeley, and then they went to LA to attend the races at Anita Park. Margaret caught wind of their plans, and she sent Caesar's business partner, John Millen, to LA to track down her husband and his mistress. She was trying to catch him in the act, and she was going to follow John so that she could be there as a witness. She just had some stuff to sort out. So John Millen finds Caesar and Nan staying at a Turkish bathhouse in LA, and he calls Margaret and tells her where they are. And Margaret goes to the bathhouse to confront them. She didn't care that there were witnesses, and when she found Caesar, she confronted him so loudly, demanding he end the affair with Nan right then and there. So Caesar agreed to do this. He told John Millen to take Nan to the station, give her 800 in cash, and put her on a train to New York. Millen did as he was told, but Margaret's attempt to end her husband's affair was ultimately unsuccessful. Just after agreeing to end his relationship, Caesar and Nan started to see each other again with the same level of secrecy they'd shown the first time around. Margaret heard this, and she demanded yet again that he end the relationship. And he agreed yet again. And this time, he said he was going to throw himself in travel so it would kill his infatuation.
Yeah.
So it is unknown if Caesar was really going to end the relationship with Nan.
Mm.
It was known that he was seemingly so dedicated to ending the relationship, so much so that he agreed to spend the summer traveling Europe with Margaret. The two were scheduled to depart on a White Star ocean liner on the morning of June 4th, 1904. And fun little fact, that is the owner of the Titanic.
Yes, I know.
A couple of years before.
I
Yeah.
was going to say,
Yeah.
they read the Titanic, but never mind,
No.
1904.
1904. But they did write the company that had they had a ticket for the ocean liner that owned the Titanic. I thought that was a little callback, fun little callback. So apparently Caesar had to see Nan one last time before he left for the summer. So on the evening before he was supposed to leave on June 3rd, they agreed to meet at a place called Flannery in Lower Manhattan. And they had dinner and champagne, and they had hoped to be alone. But they were joined
By Margaret.
by Caesar's brother-in-law, William.
Oh, okay.
So William Luce instead accompanied Caesar to the meeting, but he agreed to sit in an adjacent table.
Willow.
So why he was there, it's unknown. She's just staring at herself on the TV.
What?
Hi, Willow.
Hey.
Why are you staring at me like that?
That's not my nose. Okay. Can you move? Why do you look like you're like shy?
She looks like she's contemplating existence. That's what she looks like. I don't think she can. I think she's quite comfortable there.
I think so too, and blocking me. Yep,
So,
she don't care. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, he sat at the table next to them, and according to the owner of Flannery, Caesar and Nan were talking about their relationship. He claimed that at first it was a calm conversation that eventually led to being a heated exchange. Caesar insisted that he was leaving and that the relationship must come to an end. And he told Nan, I have loved you, and I do love you now, but I will travel until I forget you.
So dramatic. Who was the actress?
Honestly, it's why it's some of the reasons I love the oldies cases, because we're only like 3 pages into this, and it's like a 12-page thing. The trial is a hoot and a holler in this case.
I loved her from afar.
Correction, the 3 trials are a hoot and a holler. I will stay abroad a year if necessary. But before parting ways that evening, Caesar did agree to meet Nan one last time the next morning before leaving for the pier. So the next morning, Caesar left the apartment he shared with Margaret a little before 7, and he told Margaret he was going to attend some urgent business, and that he would meet her at the pier a little after 9 a.m. So Nan and Caesar met a little before 8 a.m., and they were headed in the direction of the pier. So they stopped. They were in a hansom cab, which is a horse and carriage, where the passengers sit in the carriage behind the horse, and the driver is sitting on a spring seat behind the cab.
Right.
So the cab approached the corner of Franklin Street and West Broadway, and the driver hears a loud bang come from inside the cab. He gets the horse under control because the noise had startled the horse, and he pulls the cab off to the side of the street and flagged down an officer to see what was happening in the carriage. Now, when the officer reached to the cab, he looked inside and he saw Caesar Young had collapsed into Nan's lap, and he appeared to be unconscious. As soon as he was lifted and put in an upright position, the officer saw there was a large hole in his chest, just slightly lower than his left shoulder. Now, with a quick search, they found the gun. It was a pistol, and it had fallen in Caesar's jacket pocket with one chamber empty. Now, as all of this was happening, Nan was shocked. She kept clasping her hands, going and repeating, Caesar, Caesar, why did you do this?
Okay.
Now the officer was like, we need to get him to the hospital, so he told the cab driver, Frederick Michaels, to drive as fast as possible to the Hudson Street Hospital, where Caesar was pronounced dead before he got to the operating table. So when Nan found out that Caesar hadn't made it, she became hysterical, and the services of physicians who was going to be used to treat Caesar was used to treat her instead. That was from the Times in 1904. So after she was able to get composed, she was sent to the Leonard Street police station, where she was interviewed by Captain Sweeney. According to Nan, she and Caesar had met early that morning so that she could see him one last time before he left for England. And on the way to the dock, Caesar had the cab driver stop twice at 2 different saloons where he had at least 1 drink of whiskey before getting back in the cab. So he had had at least 2 drinks of whiskey. It is unclear if she was trying to protect him or what, or if she got confused in the chaos. But as they got closer to the docks, they started to argue about their relationship and him leaving. When, according to Nan, Caesar, in a moment of impulsivity, pulled a gun from his jacket pocket. He told her he wanted one last embrace, pulled her to his chest, wrapped his right arm around her neck, and then suddenly discharged the gun under her shoulder into the left side of his chest. So she claims that Caesar dropped the pistol and it fell in his jacket as he slumped forward into her lap. She told investigators now that he's dead. I love him dearly, that I have nothing to live for and no desire to live. And as she was being interviewed by Captain Sweeney, a very distraught John Millen entered the Leonard Street station, and he was flustered with excitement and rage, and demanded to see Nan. And when the desk sergeant said that is not allowed, he went, I could kill that woman.
Definitely not allowed.
She cannot deceive me. She did for Young what she has done for 2 other men before. She cannot deceive me. I knew Young since we were boys together. So he's saying that she's killed 2 other men before. And mind you, they have yet to determine if it was suicide or if it was a homicide at the time.
Right.
So a little bit later, Nan was led out of Captain Sweeney's office and taken to the coroner's office. As this was happening, Millen, who had been sitting there waiting for her, jumped out of his chair and rushed towards her, making a move to strike her.
Okay.
But before he could lay hands on her, two officers grabbed him and dragged him away. And they were like, "You're going to get arrested if you pull that shit." Instead, he decided to follow Nan and the accompanying officers down the hall, shouting after her, quote, "If he had a gun, he would shoot her right then and there." John Millen was convinced she had killed him. The scene repeated itself outside of the station when Millen again tried to assault Nan, who was cowering behind the accompanying officers, begging her to, quote unquote, save her from Millen's fury. So she was saying, "Save me from his fury." And he was trying to strike her again outside the police station. Now, at the coroner's office, even more information came to light that didn't help Nan's case. So, if Caesar's death was a suicide, like Nan said, or if Nan intended, it would be proven by only one set of fingerprints on the weapon. But according to Nan, her fingerprints would also be on the gun as well. She said, and I quote, "because I took the pistol out of his pocket and put it back in again."
Right.
It was a strange thing for her to do, but there was something that helped her in case there was. But something did help her in this case. There was no gunpowder on her fingers.
Well, yeah, because
if there's no gunpowder,
way to tell if she did it.
Yeah,
or not.
So her fingerprints are on the gun, but she has no gunpowder residue on her fingers. And there's no way she could have washed her hands to get rid of the residue. The police officer came right into the cab after it happened and immediately escorted her. So there's no way of her getting rid of it. So things got worse when John Millen arrived with additional details about Nan's history with men. The coroner told the New York Times, "Mr. Millen has made many grave charges against this woman. Millen told me a member of the Ben-Hur company killed himself on her account while she was with the Floridora company, and then afterward another man who got in trouble with her and killed himself." So Millen's claims of Nan suspiciously driving other men to suicide was entirely unsubstantiated.
Yeah, I mean, you can't.
There's no truth to it.
If
There's no history of them.
Yeah, it's like if they did it on their own free will, that's on them, not her.
But even then, there's no history of her having a relationship with any of these men.
Yeah.
So they were fake stories. So because she I've scrolled up. So there was never any proof of this. It was just a rumor. His statements did start the cycle of the classic, classist, misogynistic rumor mill that would not only persist through the investigation and trials, but also influence their outcome in a very big way. Now, the biggest problem investigators faced was that multiple people had theories about what happened between Nan and Caesar, and no one had really seen anything. The cab driver said he never heard an argument and was only aware of a problem when he heard the gun go off. Police had other information that made them doubt Nan's claim of suicide. Captain Sweeney said, "It looks to me murder. Our information includes several letters of a threatening nature, which were sent to Young supposedly at the insistence of this woman." So basically, he's saying that Caesar was getting threatening letters, maybe not from Nan herself, but she was urging someone to write threatening letters to Caesar. I will say there is no evidence of that, and there is no way of proving that, and they never prove that. They also never release said letters.
Oh.
So they could have just been pulling shit out of their ass.
Sounds about right.
So this is a messy case, and it remains messy all the way to the end of it because there is no essential resolution. Captain Sweeney wouldn't say what info was in the letters at this point because reporters learned that they had been sent from the address of Miss J. Morgan Smith, Nan's sister who she had lived with, and that indicated Nan was greatly wrought up on Young's account and that she, Miss Smith, would not be responsible for what happened if he ever tried to desert her sister. No one has seen these letters at this point, and the police are not showing the reporters the letters. They're like, I heard this was in the letters. And the press are like, this was in the letters. And it's like, do you have evidence of that?
Yeah.
And also, it is not uncommon for newspapers during this time period to make stuff up and add it to reports. This was back in the early days, is when press would also, like, the police would be investigating a crime, and press could go into the scene of the crime. There's cases where, like, there's rumors that the press messed with the scene because they did not close it off, and this was like when they're active, like the body is still there.
Oh wow!
Like it's not like they're allowed in after everything's been swept through. No, the police are sweeping through and investigating still and getting all their evidence
as they're going in,
and the press are right behind them going, "Oh my gosh, take a photo of this, write this down."
Hence why now these days you're not allowed to be there.
It has been cracked down because a lot of shady things happened with the press. So no one has seen the letters at this point, and the police are not showing the reporters. So according to Captain Sweeney, there were 3 letters written to Caesar, all vaguely threatening in nature, and Nan claimed to know nothing about them. She was like, "I didn't tell anybody to write that, so I don't know where they're coming from." So after the autopsy was completed, the coroners released his findings that the cause of death was a hemorrhage of the lung from a bullet that entered the body, quote, just below the left shoulder, between the first and second rear rib, pierced the apex of the left lung. Now, given all the unanswered questions, Nan was taken into custody and held in the Tomb City prison. To me, that's like, what if her account is true? Why are you arresting her and taking her to prison? Are you 100% this is a murder?
Yeah.
But the sad part is women were not trusted in the legal system. And a lot of times back then, women in the legal system were considered liars. So she was taken to the tomb and she was held on a bail of $5,000, which in today's money is $182,008.
Jeez.
Baffling. Her attorney, Abraham Levy, came up with the money for her release, but was aware and nervous about the public's interest in the case. The district attorney, William Jerome, immediately challenged the bail and ordered that she be held without bail, which I will say, even if this was a crime of passion, there is no proof that she's a threat to society, and that's what bail's for. It's to leverage if somebody is a threat to society. And this man is like, she is the biggest threat to society. Where?
Yeah.
Again?
She didn't kill the other 2 that you're claiming that she killed. She didn't obviously kill this dude that we know of.
I mean, it's not like she's going around shooting people left and right. No, she just, even if this was a murder of passion, or she got upset that he was leaving her and he shot her and she shot him, that still doesn't warrant no bail.
Yeah. I think it's Margaret.
You think it's Margaret?
I think it's Margaret.
So
I mean, how many times did she ask him to end the affair?
Yeah, there is a part of this case that they never get solved, and I have a suspicion as to who it is. But we'll get into that. So police had other information that made them doubt Nan's claim of suicide. No, that's it. I already read that. La, 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 la. So he tried to argue she should be held without bail. When she was arrested, the only evidence they had was used to hold her was a sworn affidavit that the officer stated she was criminally involved. So the only evidence that they used to say that she didn't deserve bail was an officer going, "I think she did it." What?
You think she did what?
She was criminally involved in the case.
Crackhead.
That's it? Okay. Now despite the only evidence being an officer saying she did it, there was no other evidence. The investigators and district attorney decided to press charges as though Nan was guilty.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense, yes. So they decided to press charges as if she was guilty. Less than a week after the shooting, the district attorney there, William Jerome, brought the case in front of a grand jury with 2 surprise witnesses, he hoped would secure him an indictment.
You want to help her read it?
Yes, she does. The man who claimed to have witnessed the shooting and the owner of the pawn shop where the pistol was purchased.
Say that 5 times fast.
So on
Pawn
June
shop where the pistol was purchased.
Yeah. So on June 8th, a beautiful day before the grand jury convened, a man named Aldron Mayer. He was a supposed witness to the shooting that went to the press to publicly identify himself and tell his story before making a formal statement to the police or district attorney. So the first place he goes to is the press, not the police. He told the papers he had seen the struggle inside the cab and, quote, the shooting seemed accidental. Now his account seemed to corroborate what Nan had told the police in her statement. But more importantly, he was one of the few people with no agenda that could speak on her behalf or her defense. So when the story broke about Mayer witnessing the crime, the DA's office came forward to announce the identity of their own witness, a man named Carl Norander. According to them, Norander had been brought to the Tombs where he positively ID'd Nan as the woman he saw shoot Caesar Young in the cab. But the problem was that there was no eyewitnesses to the shooting, and the heavy news coverage of Caesar's death had prompted a flood of letters to Nan's defense team and the district attorney's office, all from supposed witnesses. It caused this whole situation where both sides were trying to outdo each other with false claims, just to strengthen their cases. This is one of those instances where they're trying to sway the court of public opinion before they even go to court. They're trying to sway the jury before the jury is sitting.
Willow, stop doing that with your cup, please.
Now, the Millens' claims of Nan's history with other men, the coroner and the district attorney, also became willing participants in the media frenzy. So they started backing his statement, his untrue statements. Both with little regard for truth or their professional obligations. They saw Nan's case as a way to make their names bigger, and they were trying to capitalize on the case. So, day after day, public officials from the coroners to the police captain to the district attorney were giving statements to the press where they made vague, unsubstantiated claims of Nan's guilt. And they would hint at having irrefutable pieces of evidence proving she was the killer. Nothing that they never had it and they never could produce it. So they're going to the media going, we got evidence. We got proof. Nowhere. They had none. It was a lie that they were saying.
Falsifying evidence.
They not even falsifying evidence because they weren't bringing it to court. They were just telling the media they had all of this so that they could sway the jury before the jury pool was even was chosen. Yeah, they're trying to falsify everything.
Just a
So
piece of work is what you are.
Yeah. So now, despite the only evidence being an officer saying she did it, there was no other evidence. Nope, that's further down.
Oops.
Nah. For example, one day before the grand jury was convened, the coroner made a statement to the press declaring, I have obtained sworn information, which makes it certain, when the inquest is held, the jury will find this defendant responsible for the death of Caesar Young. He didn't have this. When he was asked where this information was, he said, I can't share it with you right now.
Why can't you share it?
So,
please enlighten us.
All the unfounded claims aside and media frenzy aside, the prosecutor did have a solid lead on a man named Hyman Stern. He was a pawnbroker who claimed to have sold the pistol used in Caesar's death. Now, shortly after Nan's arrest, this man, Stern, positively identified the revolver that they'd found in Caesar's pocket as the one he sold the Friday before Caesar's death. But when he was asked to identify Nan as the female of the couple who purchased this pistol together, he went, no, that's not her. So then the police theorized it could have been Nan's sister who went to buy the gun with her husband, J. Morgan Smith. Because remember, they said Nan's sister was one who was sending Caesar those threatening letters that no one ever saw.
Yeah.
So despite the lack of evidence tying Nan to the shooting, the DA presented the case to the grand jury. That included a bunch of questionable testimony from people who witnessed the shooting. After hearing the evidence, the jury made the unconventional request to hear Nan's account of the case.
Okay.
But her counsel decided that it probably was not in her best interest to go to the stand, which was a tough decision. You can have her testify and hopefully they believe her, or there is the option they don't believe her.
Yeah.
If she didn't have the proper emotions that the jury was looking for, they could say she was guilty. So they decided against it. The request was a good sign, though, that the grand jury was not convinced by the prosecution's case. Sadly, even though she was told not to testify because it could go wrong, that also looked bad on Nan and it did not help her case. Because despite the previous indication of doubt, on June 13th, the grand jury returned with an indictment of murder in the first degree against Nan Patterson. So on June 21st, she appeared before a judge in the General Sessions Court, and her lawyers entered the plea of not guilty. Now, from the moment she was found in the cab with Caesar, tons of news outlets from New York and California made it clear, while they didn't know she was responsible for Caesar's death or not, there was no doubt she was an unsavory character because she was an actress.
Saying she's using her acting to get out of being convicted of a
Oh,
murder.
not only that, on June 5th, just one day after Caesar's death,
Mm-hmm.
the front page of the San Francisco Call referred to Nan as wrecker of the bookmaker's home. And when they talked about Caesar's wife, Margaret,
Mm-hmm.
they called her a beautiful and talented lady who had been credited by her husband with having lifted him from a position of poverty to one of affluence.
Oh, okay.
So they were making Nan this guilty monster. But there was no truth behind Caesar's wealth actually coming from his wife. It
Yeah.
was Caesar was a self-made man. Now Caesar had done some bad things. She was a homewrecker, but takes two to tango.
Yes, it does.
Can't blame her if he's also having an affair.
And he's okay with it.
Um, Now this was a perfect example of classism and misogyny that surrounded all three of Nan's trials. Nan's onstage career was also looked down upon by many Americans who, as author Carrie Segrave pointed out, looked upon females within the field as loose and generally immoral. So, because of her career, they were considered gross and nasty and essentially a whore.
Could have left it at gross and nasty.
Yeah. The other thing is, Nan barely spent any time acting, but through her trial, she was referred to as the actress in a mocking tone.
Can't be an actress if you ain't doing it.
So when the first trial went underway on November 15th, 1904, and the assistant district attorney William Rand was acting as a prosecutor, and Abe Levy was there to defend Nan's defense. Um, Despite the media circus that surrounded the trial, the first one was pretty simple and straightforward. The prosecution alleged that Nan was afraid of losing Caesar, so she shot him in a jealous fit of rage. The assistant DA told the jury, "We will show you that the wound which brought about his death would not have been self inflicted, and that the weapon which was used could not have been purchased by him or belonged to him." Now, at the time of the trial, Nan's sister and brother in law, the Smiths, who the prosecution believed purchased the gun that killed Caesar, they hadn't been located, so they weren't able to be subpoenaed.
Hmm.
Nevertheless, the district attorney made a show of calling the broker, Hyman Stern, to the stand so they could show him photos of the Smiths, and they were hoping he would confirm that they were the ones who purchased the pistol the night before the shooting. What the jury didn't know was that Stern had been shown the couple's faces earlier, and he had said he did not recognize them as the buyer of the pistol.
Hmm.
But coincidentally, when he was called, he couldn't testify because he was struck down with appendicitis, and his testimony was going to have to wait. When asked if the appendicitis was brought on by the case with no evidence, DA William Rand, who had who likes to also sway the media, replied with, "It might have been in fact. I think that nervous strain which he's been under is the cause."
Okay.
The defense, on the other hand, their argument, they maintained their assertion that Caesar had been drinking the morning of his death. His judgment impaired by whiskey and no food, he shot himself in a fit of what they called alcoholically sentimental despair. So in support of their argument, the defense attorney Levy called a man named Milton Hazelton who had been in New York for a short trip in June. And he claimed he'd been walking down the street with an acquaintance when they came up on a hansom cab as it pulled to a stop. He claimed he saw a young man and a woman facing each other with their hands clasped together. There was a commotion of some sorts happening. The young woman just dropped her hands in her lap, and immediately the two witnesses noticed a revolver in the man's hands and heard it go off. Which
Mm.
to me is crazy because sometimes it's like people saw nothing, and then other times people saw everything.
Can that despair be given to someone? I have some names left out loud.
The problem with this story is the hansom cab never came to a stop before it was pulled over because of the shot. But this testimony was corroborated by a second witness, John Later. I believe that's how you say it later. He was coming from a nearby drugstore when the shot was fired, and he said, "As the cab passed me, I heard a shot fired." So in his statement, the cab is moving. He saw a pistol in the right hand of the man who sat there on the right side of the cab. When the cab had gone half a block further, it stopped. I climbed up to the step and looked in. The man still held the pistol, which from Nan's account, he wasn't holding the gun, it fell in the pocket. But also remember, she said she put it in his pocket,
Mm-hmm.
which is weird, but maybe he didn't die right away and he tried to put it in his pocket and she did it for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he didn't, because shooting like this, because that's essentially how they're saying he was shot.
Yeah.
He may have lived for a little bit and she tried to help him out. She was in a state of shock, decided to
Give her your hand.
help him out. Now Millen's claim of Nan why am I on the wrong page?
I don't know. It keeps
Moving. Um so to me there's a reasonable doubt. And that was the defense's purpose, to create reasonable doubt. That she didn't kill him. The prosecution, in the absence of Hyman Stern, the pawnbroker, they had to rely on the little forensic evidence they had. So on November 22nd, a representative from the coroner's office arrived in court with a teaching skeleton, and he wanted to show the trajectory of the bullet from the point of entry. They felt that would show Caesar couldn't have fired the shot himself.
Mm-hmm.
Nan's attorney Levy immediately objected to the skeleton. Um, uh, object to the skeleton. The judge actually overruled the objection and allowed the presentation. Later, even, the press would admit that the coroner's demonstration did not settle the question whether the wound, which was fatal to Young, could have been self inflicted. So, a little less than 2 weeks into the trial, the case looked like it was headed in Nan's favor because of all of the reasonable doubt that was being arisen. In addition to the testimony of the two eyewitnesses, Hazelton and Latour, there was a testimony from a man who drove Nan's cab that evening before the shooting. He told the jury Caesar was very much under the influence of liquor, abused the girl who was accused of his murder, and after cursing her, struck her and forced her crying into the cab.
Oh, wow.
Just when things seemed to be going great for Nan, things fell apart on November 27th when one of the jurors had a stroke
Oh, no.
and was listed by his doctors as being in serious condition. So, because they did not get any alternate jurors in the case, a mistrial was declared and a new trial was scheduled for early December.
Jeez.
Now they have to start all over again. Do you see why I mean it's wily? It's a little bit all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Nan spoke to the press and said it was very hard. I had to help choose that jury and I felt confident in its fairness. Her second trial got underway, and that comment would come back to haunt her. The trial began in December with the selection of a new jury process being sensationalized by the press because they were claiming that she had handpicked jurors. They were like, she's picking people who would be sympathetic to her. In reality, it was that she had input in the selection as it was being conducted because it's a collaborative. She chooses, the DA chooses, everyone gets a choice.
Now these days they don't do that.
No, they still do that.
You get chosen by the courts.
So
like if you get jury duty or something like that.
So that's in minor cases. In criminal cases, they do like ask questions and weed you out.
Yeah, that's what because John got jury duty. He gets jury duty. It's like, why don't I get jury duty?
I don't know. I never get jury duty either. I think that's because, though, I studied criminal justice in school.
Oh, mine could be because of the whole CPS thing.
Yeah. You have a history in the system, and they know that people who have a history of the system or know how the system works know it's not always 100%.
I don't know how the damn system works. Right now, I could care less how the system works because it don't work with shit.
Yeah.
That's how I know it works.
So no,
System ain't doing nothing.
I lost it again.
What is up with you losing it? I need to go shut that blind.
Okay, so that didn't stop reporters from claiming that Nan had exclusively chosen gray-haired men.
Sorry.
The implication is that they would be swayed by her beauty and charm.
Yes, let's blame a woman who is an actress and is beautiful.
So I am also just going to throw this out there. People of color and women couldn't be on the jury. Only older white men could be on the jury. Make it make sense.
Probably didn't want women to be favorite of her, like to favor her.
Well, she wasn't even. They weren't even allowed to hold. They weren't even allowed to sit on a jury until after they were given the right to vote. So they couldn't even sit on the jury in the first place. So the only person who could sit on the jury
was men.
Older white men. And they're saying she chose gray-haired men so they could be swayed by her charm. Isn't that literally what your justice system was back then?
Probably. I mean, your exes were how old?
Yeah. So jury selection was finished December 8th, and they chose alternate jurors this time. So if something happened to one, they would have a coverage. So since little time had passed, William Rand's opening stayed the same as the one he gave a month earlier. He said she was a vampire murderess and a wrecker of homes.
Wow.
He said Caesar had bluntly said he was leaving and the relationship was over, and now Nan was outraged by rejection and jealousy. She shot him with a revolver that was purchased at the pawn shop by her sisters and her brother-in-law the previous evening. One of the first witnesses called was Frederick Michaels, the cab driver. He previously testified he saw and heard nothing except for the shot. He reiterated this statement except in less details than last month, which caused people to believe he suffered some sort of memory loss since his last court appearance. Actually, he was questioned by the defense, and prosecutors on the juries chimed in and was like, "Do you think you can remember where you were born?" Because that is how forgetful he seemed.
Oh, wow.
They asked him if he remembered where he was born.
In hospital.
Because he seemed that confused. He paused for a moment and said, "New York," which then caused even more question because of the pause. A few days into the trial, Assistant DA Rand caused laughter in the courtroom when he questioned Captain Sweeney, and he attempted to, without any evidence, establish Nan's sister and her husband as co-conspirators in the shooting. He implied the Smiths were fugitives and they had failed to appear in court for questioning, with the implication being that if the Smiths were innocent and played no role in the death, why would they have fled? And before Captain Sweeney, who was on the stand at that point, could respond, Abe Levy objected and the jury was excused while both sides made their arguments and tried to figure out everything. Levy correctly pointed out there was no evidence of the Smiths being served a warrant or a subpoena, so they were free to move as they pleased. And other than their relationship to Nan, there was no evidence that connected them to the shooting. But the DA or Assistant DA Rand responded saying evidence has been introduced to show Smith and his wife were with the defendant engaged in earnest conversation the night preceding the murder.
Wow.
It was clear Rand was doing his best to obscure facts and strengthen his case, but fortunately the judge agreed with the defense and refused to allow Rand any further with this line of questioning after that. Things got worse for him later when pawnbroker Hyman Stern took the stand. The prosecution had been ramping up his testimony and being like, "This is the ticket to prosecute her." But when he took the stand, it fell apart. Not only was the jury informed he failed to identify Smith and his wife in the photos, now he was even more vague. The New York Times reported that Stern recalled the sale of the pistol but could give no adequate description of the parties who made the purchase. So Rand's attempt to enter the evidence of threatening letters sent to Caesar by Nan's sister was also unsuccessful. The prosecution's case was nosediving. Rand hoped these letters would imply guilt or establish them as co-conspirators, and defense attorney Levy successfully objected, arguing the letters were not written by the defendant and had no bearing on the case. So on December 19th, as the case neared its end, Nan took the stand to testify on her behalf. In addition to proving some facts about her life, like her time as a Floridora girl, her teenage marriage, and that's when they began asking her questions about her relationship with Caesar. She said Caesar had instructed her to pretend to agree to the breakup when in front of family and friends, saying he told me to say I was willing to go away, but that was all a bluff. He didn't want me to go away at all. It was necessary for me to say I was going away. He explained for Mrs. Young's peace of mind. During her testimony, she contradicted many of the assertions Rand had made about her. She said this was not going to be the end of the relationship at all, and Caesar was going to send for her once he settled in Europe. And then she said she had no idea her sister had written any letters to Caesar, and she definitely didn't tell her to. And most importantly, she said she was not at the pawn shop the night before the shooting, nor did I have my sister or brother-in-law purchase a gun for me. I didn't need one. She explained to the jury on the morning of the shooting Caesar had picked her up at the hotel. She had agreed to go with him, but she had no idea where they were going. And she said Caesar was disappointed in leaving me, but insisted I would join him after things had quieted down. And Miss Young had forgotten me. And when Nan told Caesar she still loved him, she didn't think she could uproot her life and move to Europe. And at that point Caesar got irrationally upset. And she said, he asked, "Do you really mean that, Nan? I've lost a lot of money and I'm going to lose my girl." She said Caesar pushed her back and she relented and agreed to join him in Europe a short time later. But then she said he grabbed me and pressed me to him with such a force that it hurt me badly. As I did so, I heard um, a muffled shot and he fell forward in my lap. I saw no pistol. He half rose again, and I began to scold him, not realizing what happened. Then he fell forward again, and I couldn't attract his attention. So Nan's accounts of the events before and after Susan's shooting remained the same, but that was the first time people heard her side of the story because the press had labeled her um, a murderer.
Mm.
Um,
And then the last trial, they sat there and told her not to do it because it could
and
hurt her more than
yeah,
anything.
In the press, Nan was a low-class homewrecker whose immoral behavior directly or indirectly caused the death of someone, but no one thought that this death could have been an accident. So in Assistant DA Rand's closing arguments, he told the jury, "I will give her credit for all the cleverness, and accord to my recognition to the people who got up to the story she told. But actress as she is stony-hearted, cruel, avenging adventuress. I say to you that the tale she would have you all believe would not carry a conviction in the mind of a child."
See her face, it's funny.
So after 11 hours of deliberation in the second trial, the jury foreman reported to the judge they were hopelessly deadlocked, with 10 in favor of acquittal and 2 in favor of conviction. So the judge in the case, Vernon Davis, reminded the jury of their duty and asked them to return to deliberation and try again. They returned a little over an hour later, saying they were still deadlocked.
Wow.
After talking to the jury foreman, Judge Davis returned to the bench and told the assembled crowd, "I have been informed that the jury stood for 6 acquittal and 6 for conviction, and there is no other choice other than to declare mistrial."
Good Lord.
Once this was declared, when Rand went out to the press and declared his intent to proceed with a third trial.
Jesus.
So unlike the first 2 trials, there was not a short period of time between them. In fact, there was a 4-month-long gap, during which William Jerome and the DA's office did everything he could to push Nan's guilt to the press. They were using the press to their advantage. Just one day after the second trial was over, Rand and Jerome called a press conference to announce their desire to pursue a third trial. And despite proving she was not a flight risk or a threat to the community, they didn't want her to get bail and they were going to fight for her not to get it. Jerome told reporters, "I will oppose the release of Nan's bail on any account." When the third trial began on April 18, 1905, Rand and the district attorney pushed for a jury of all married men, thinking they would be less inclined to be swayed by Nan's beauty and charm.
Oh, jeez.
Jeez. Now, between the second and third trial, Nan's sister and brother in law filed a suit against Jerome in the district attorney's office, alleging slander and harassment, noting their attorney told them to stay far away from the case. Now, addition to that, Rand claimed to have the letters of Smith sent to Caesar, but refused to produce them in court or hand them over to the Smiths' lawyers,
Wow.
which is literally just an example of him having no evidence of a crime and making allusions to the press. So while the Smiths argued with the DA's office, Nan's criminal trial proceeded as expected. The third trial was like the other two, same witnesses and all, but this time the defense committed more time to the analysis of the coroner's report and produced their own expert witness, who claimed to the jury that the trajectory of the bullet entered under the left shoulder at a downward trajectory would have been consistent with Nan's story of an accidental shooting. Similarly, the coroner reported they found no powder marks on Nan's fingers after the shooting, but they did find it on Caesar's fingers, indicating he held the gun when it went off. But the prosecutor still convinced the pawnbroker could help his case, even though he was like, "I don't know nothing." So he made him testify one last time. Rand called him to testify, and he wanted him to identify the Smiths as the one who bought the gun. Same as trial number 2. Okay,
Sorry.
this is one of the stupidest cases because you would think after the second trial when the dude was like, "Nah, I don't recognize them," the DA would be like, "Oh, I guess he doesn't recognize him." But no, he puts him on trial again. Hi guys, how's it going? I'm tired. I have been doing the Yorkshire Ripper case for the past 5 or 6 days. Oof. Yeah. And I go back to overnights tonight, so I woke up at 9 a.m. and I'm not going to bed until I get home at like 7 a.m. So it's going to be fun. I honestly feel the hanging on by a thread. I feel that. If I'll be there. Since I work an overnight shift, you'll see me super freaking tired, crying, probably. Don't know how much I'll be able to get done. But I'm hoping at least 3 pallets. Oh, I'm sorry. If it makes you feel any better, I did cry last night too. And I cried this morning as well. It's just one of those past couple of days. But the good news is, once you get sad, there's no other place to go but up. Ooh, that actually sounds really good. pecan pie dump cake. Did it not do well? Is that why you cried? Oh, you forgot the binding agent? Oh no. I've done that. I forgot to add flour to something one time. I think I was making like cupcakes and I forgot to. I did not cry because of my existence. I cried because I was typing up on the Ripper case and how he killed one of his victims. Um, was so awful and so brutal that I literally started crying because I could not imagine somebody doing that to another person. I mean, I could imagine it because my brain just can't imagine stuff, but the moment I thought of it, it just broke me as a person. I'm like, that's the first time that has ever happened when I've typed a case, is hearing something that just absolutely breaks me. And knowing that he probably could have gotten caught sooner also makes this case even worse for me. Yeah, the eggs definitely probably don't help. Makes it all worse.
It's food.
The food.
The food. Oops. It be the food. Okay.
So, back to the case. So, the prosecutor still convinced the pawnbroker could help his case, even though he's like, I don't know anything. The last time he testified. So Rand calls him to testify, and he wanted him to identify the Smiths as the one who bought the gun. But when the time came, Rand asked Stern to identify the Smiths as the buyers of the pawn of the pistol, and he said, "No, I cannot, sir." Rand must have expected a different answer because he was stunned and asked him several times if that was true, and each time he gave the answer, "Nope, I can't identify the Smiths or Nan Patterson as the individual who purchased the gun."
So pretty much he thought that by the 4-month separation, he was going to forget and probably sit there and change his story.
Or he was
which
trying
didn't
to
happen.
Yeah, or he was trying to manipulate him.
Yeah. Coerce him into saying that it was the Smiths that
Yeah.
bought the gun, and that didn't work.
Yeah. So on May 3rd, 1905, the jury adjourned for deliberation, and much like the previous trial, they emerged at 2:30 a.m. to report they were deadlocked.
God.
The court recorder stressed to the foreman that after 3 trials and considerable effort, there was a lot riding on the unanimous verdict of either guilty or innocent. The foreman insisted there was no hope, and a short time later, the relevant parties were brought back into the courtroom, where the foreman was formally asked whether the jury was able to come to a decision, and he said, "We have not. I am convinced there is no hope of an agreement." And with that, the third mistrial was declared, and by this time, even the assistant DA Rand admitted a fourth trial was unlikely. So on May 12, 1905, after 3 exhausting trials, Nan Patterson was released from the Tombs and was allowed to leave New York a free woman. But she had spent over a year to jail, close to 2 years in jail. Despite having essentially lost the case, William Jerome, the DA, held a press conference in an attempt to save face. He told reporters there was unanimity in the courtroom on 3 points: that J. Morgan Smith bought the pistol from the pawnbroker,
Oh, good God.
that
Come on,
Nan
dude.
Patterson took the pistol into the cab with her, and Caesar Young did not commit
What
suicide.
the frick ever? You're so stupid.
This was not true. There was no unanimity. Following the mistrial and her release, Nan returned to her parents' home in Washington, D.C., and in September of 1904, she married her former husband, Leon Gaines.
Wow.
And she
That dude just could not let go. Obviously, did she date him or something?
that was her first husband.
Really, dude, come on.
Uh,
You're that irritated and pissed off with her that you have to attempt to try and put your ex-wife in jail for apparently something that they can't prove that
Oh
she
no no
did.
no, different guy. The guy she got divorced from. Oh yeah, he's the one who's like she is of a foolish and
Yeah, the
emotional
guy that was
nature.
going against
Yeah,
her. Yeah, I was like,
yeah.
what the
And
hell,
then he got
dude?
married to her again,
Stupid idiot.
and he faded out of the spotlight and living a normal life. Psych. The second marriage didn't last long, so they divorced yet again.
Jesus.
And Nan got married a third time in 1910, this time to a Captain Summer Scott, and they lived outside Seattle until she passed away in 1947 at 65 years old.
Oh, wow. Good God, what an idiot.
I don't understand how she thought that they would that the pawnbroker would change his thought process. That he would all of a sudden recognize the Smiths as the one. So here's my theory as to who purchased the gun.
Okay.
John Martin
Uh-huh.
and Caesar's wife.
Margaret, yeah.
I
Say
think
Margaret.
I think those two went to buy the gun, knew Caesar was meeting with Nan in the morning.
Uh-huh.
So they slipped the gun in his pocket knowing he was drunk because remember, he drinks 3 to 4 glasses of brandy in the morning with his breakfast.
Yeah.
And they knew he was probably going to be drinking more when he was
Because
out with Nan.
he usually does.
Because he usually does. And so they knew he was drunk. Whether also he was trying to, if what Nana said is correct, where she went, I don't know if I can uproot my life and move to England. It could have been also he was trying to shoot her in the back and do a whole thing where he shot her in the back and then it went through him, kind of double suicide,
Yeah.
or just a murder. He was trying to murder her, but because he's so drunk, he shot himself.
Stupid.
God.
Sorry.
I don't believe Nan Patterson killed him.
I don't either. I mean,
I think she is completely innocent in all regards.
yeah.
I think he was set up, and I think he was also really stupid, and they were betting on his drunk ass.
And that's why I said the wife. The wife had something to do with it. And then the letters, I think the wife wrote the letters.
And then put him in her sister's name.
And then put them in her sister's name to make it look like her sister is the one that did it.
Well, her sister, I think her sister said she wrote the letters. Oh no, she said that she's like, I don't know, my sister wrote the letters. Yeah. I didn't tell her to write the letters.
Yeah.
And it's just awfully convenient for me that John Millen immediately after finding out that his business partner was shot, immediately starts spinning this tale that she shot him and that she's caused other men to kill themselves.
Because that's what I was saying is he's spinning this tale. Did she date him or something? Was she married to him? That's why I asked if she was married to him or if she dated him ever for him to be like this, or is he pissed off because maybe he was also infatuated with her at one point,
and
she chose Caesar over him. I can see why you did, but there's got to be a reason why he's acting like this.
Mm-hmm.
And they always say that there's a reason for everything, and that's just me. That's what I think and believe. There's a reason why somebody does it. There can be no reason why somebody doesn't do that.
Exactly.
There could be a reason why I walk up to her soda and it could be full and just slam it off the table.
Why would you do that?
Oh, exactly. And you would sit there and say, why'd you do that off? Because you don't need it? Whack. It's like, come on. There has to be more to that. There has to be more behind why he is acting that way.
Yeah. So this is just the beginning. We have this oldies case. We have another's oldie case, which takes place in like the 1920s, 1930s. And then we have another oldies case after that. Well, we have the Thanksgiving case.
Oldies.
I say Thanksgiving is an oldies case because it's you know.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty old.
But when I refer to oldies cases, I mean like the old cases that are like twisty and turny. So we have that killing, and then we have another oldies case. We got like 3 oldies cases. I hope y'all are ready for that. And then after all the oldies cases, we have the Disney. Mm-hmm. Then we have Nutty Putty Cave, which I already wrote. It's really sad.
And then our Q&A / Krampus.
And then I finished, because this is definitely going to be a 2-parter. because it's going to be it's a lot. I don't know if we're physically or mentally, because I'm having a hard time mentally coping with writing all of it back to back to back and not taking any breaks. But I'm trying not to take breaks so I can take a 3 to 4 day break from typing before I start typing up again. I'm having a little bit of a mental health issue when it comes to this case, and that's why I want to get it done so badly. I don't know if we'll be able to, because I was thinking this could be like one of those cases where we record and then we don't have to record the next Monday.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. I think we're going to need the week to recuperate.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't ever heard of the Yorkshire Ripper, if you remember the Blackout Ripper, remember in Europe they call somebody a Ripper when they're particularly nasty.
Mm-hmm.
This man was so brutal. They were saying he was Jack the Ripper reincarnated.
Mm-hmm. You were telling me that.
Yeah, they were saying he's Jack the Ripper reincarnated. And I've told her quite a bit of stuff about this case because I know she's going to forget it because it's the last week of December, beginning of January. She's just going to.
I forget a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Because in my.
And the stuff I know she's going to remember, I'm not telling her. It is stuff I know she'll forget.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not telling her about. Like, I don't know, did I tell you about, I was reading something and I had to reread it and reread it again. And then I sat there and I cried.
Mm-mm.
So it's one of his victims, how he killed one of his victims. It caused me to reread it because I was watching the documentary on it and they just mentioned that he had killed somebody. In the documentary, they don't really go into detail about how the women were killed. And he was like, it was a particularly brutal murder. And I was like, okay, he's pretty brutal, as I figured. I'm listening to this thing and I hear how he killed this woman. And I was like, oh, and I had to, because my podcast, I have it that I can see it because I can't listening and sometimes it doesn't process. I had to reread it like 2-3 times. And then I just sat and I stared at my screen and I just started crying because how he killed her because my brain can picture things, like it'll just come up with little things. And I pictured it and I could never imagine an actual human being doing what he did to her.
Wow.
It is that brutal. It is that awful. It is heartbreaking to think of what he did to her.
Wow.
And it's just how the police treated the victims' families, how they treated the victims of the time, how they treated potential victims is just awful. The fact that the police department apologized 40 years later.
Should have been apologizing right then and there. Why wait 40 years?
Exactly. And I think it was because they apologized because they were like, oh, we mishandled the case. We know we fucked up. You're apologizing 40 years too late.
Yeah.
You
should have been apologizing right then and there, and you should have took care of the family.
And it was the families who called him out. The families.
Good.
It was the first victim. Her son was 5 years old at the time of the murder. The police went through the house. Was like, oh, your mom's not coming home because her body was close to the apartment where they lived. And so he and his siblings, because they didn't have a father at the time, he and his siblings actually were outside watching the police investigate. And they were like, well, mom's not home, so we're just going to sit here and watch. And they were like, what are we doing? They're being kids.
Yeah.
And the police come and they're like, okay, your mom's not coming home. Come with us. Pack your bags. Yeah. And then they took him to a children's home.
Right.
There was no ounce of sympathy to those kids. There was no, hey, I'm so sorry. Let me take you to the police station. Let me see if I can find your family. No, it was just okay, cool. Your mom's gone. And the man who, when he was 5 at the time, one of her kids, said it didn't click. They had told us she was gone, but it didn't click with me until we were driving up to this tall building that looked like an old church. And they were telling us, okay, here's your new home.
Oh, wow.
That I was never going to see my mother again.
Wow.
And that's how they treated the children. I've told you how they treated the 17-year-old. They treated the families shitty. Like one of the 5-year-old son, when he was older, he made a whole entire support group because of how they treated all of the families.
Wow.
It was bad.
Beep. Oh. Beep. Was that your tattoo? I see your tattoo on your belly. You rebel. Can't hide that. No, they give them a little tattoo when they get fixed. Hers is a green one. So is Mulan's, and so is Tataru's. She just didn't like me poking her in the stomach.
Huh. She's like, no one pokes me in the stomach.
Nobody. Just like nobody puts baby in the corner. That's right.
I swear,
Dude.
sometimes she's smarter than she looks.
Yeah, I would say so. Who all thinks that Christmas is being shoved upon us way too soon, and it's not even Thanksgiving?
You,
I mean,
the
understandably,
person who willingly went into the Christmas section before Halloween.
Yes, I know. Because they had to put it out because of freaking inventory.
I know, but even I was willing to draw the line and say I don't go into the Christmas section until after Halloween.
I had to. The trees were drawing me in. It's the trees.
You have to have strength, Michelle.
Nope, not when it comes to Christmas. Christmas is one of my all-time favorite holidays.
It's coming too soon, and I think it's because everyone is looking forward to Christmas. I think Christmas is a happy time.
Bloop. Oh, I shocked her. Oops. I'm sorry. Beep. Shocked her.
Are you on your back?
Hey.
Look at your little teethsies.
You got a twofer. You smile. 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 You weirdo.
She is just laying on her.
Jesus. Nasty. Oh. Weirdo.
She's just over here riding, like she's just moving on her back, just like, ugh.
I'm afraid to touch your butt. You're gonna fart.
Riley. Her back is facing us, but her ears facing us.
I'm waiting. Till she's turned over. Hi.
Come here. Hermione.
Do it. Do it. Do it. No, you can't fit in there. Nice try, though. I see you.
Hermione.
Excuse me.
Okay. She is.
She wants to go outside.
Oh, she has a big stretch. Oh, big stretch.
Yoga pose.
She acts like she works a job, a full-time job.
I mean, heaven forbid you protect the house. Wow, that's strenuous.
You just lay in there.
Must be nice to be a dog and cat. So you just lay there, do nothing, eat, poop, and sleep. Hear strange noises coming from our bedroom, which is the TV, because I'm watching Harry Potter.
Yeah, no. No, it's been I cannot wait until because my goal is by December to have everything typed up, and I think with the other cases I can. It's just I need to take a break after this.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna pre-record the Yorkshire Ripper.
I don't know if we'll be mentally able to handle. I think we could do one live, I think we could do the lives, but I don't know if we can do a pre-recording for the second episode. Like we could do a live and then immediately stop and pre-record.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll be able to mentally handle doing it back to back.
Or it's gonna be one of those that we do the first one and I look at her and be like, we're pre-recording the next one. Let's see what happened. Because what was the one that messed me up? Blackout Ripper?
Yeah.
That one messed me up a little bit. I was like, I can't look at certain things the same way. Like, you know what's hilarious?
You're not going to be able to look at screwdrivers the same again.
Okay. Well, what happened to our potato pillar? It magically disappeared. I did not even throw it away after that one. Because everything
did disappear.
it's
We
gone.
had it and that was gone.
I was trying to shave the carrots. And I was like, where the hell is my potato pillar? And I was going through the kitchen, every single drawer I looked in, no potato pillar. I don't know if it just went into the great beyond.
I think it went into the great beyond because we couldn't look at potato peelers the same again.
I mean, I don't look at screwdrivers anyways because I really don't use them very much.
What about hammers?
Don't use them very much either.
What about a ball peen hammer?
I don't use tools.
You might look at them differently.
It's like a very seldom, rare occasion that we need one. So usually when I put things together, I put it together correctly.
You also might look at the police a little differently after this case.
Sorry, Steven.
You might just be a little bit more mad.
There's still good ones out there. Just the dumb ones that just are crooked.
This whole entire police force was dumb. Actually, not just one police force, multiple different police forces. Dumb as hell. Stupid. And the thing is, not only did the police department apologize, but the individual police officers have apologized. Because they're like, yeah, we handled that case wrong.
There should have been only one station handling it in the first place.
No. There was, I think at the point I'm at, I think there was at least 8 different headquarters. All of them having their own evidence, their own people who committed crimes that they thought it was.
Yeah.
Their own interviews. They never once collaborated.
Which is
stupid.
I'm just like staring up at the ceiling. When I say I'm cleaning on Thursday,
I'm going to be asleep maybe.
There's dust. And it's driving me crazy. Probably need to dust that fan. Probably needs it really badly. Which we have a fan duster.
Yeah, we do.
We do have one of those. And then I have an extender that I can get up there, and then might get a flat, or when I go through the stuff in the garage, I have a flat, long flat storage container that I could put my castle in and go ahead and put it in there. Because why?
It's gonna look so weird without the castle.
I know, it's gonna be naked. The living room's gonna be naked. Just because I want to go ahead and get it all done and taken care of and just not have to worry about doing it. I guess. Buy more. Probably gonna buy like 5 totes. 10 totes next month just to technically make it official. Technically. I mean, we're gonna have to start. So that means on Mondays, we'll just start cleaning, unpacking out in the garage just to go through it and get rid of stuff because we're getting rid of our tree. We don't need it.
And then on Tuesday, I will also continue packing.
It's really weird. My best friend, she sent me a text yesterday. And she's all like, is it official? And I'm like, yes, the Kansas move is official. You know, it is going to happen. And she's wanting to do a going away party for me for us when we're leaving and stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. And she goes, what was the comment she made was, like something about kidnapping me or some shit like that. And then she goes, oh, I mean, a going away party. That's what I mean. I was like, unless I kidnap you first, and there's an emoji going like this. I was like, okay. So now she wants me to figure out what I want to do, which I don't know what I want to do because, one, I don't like making those decisions. Just surprise me. That might be something I just tell her. Just surprise me. Just whatever you think I will like, just let's do it. I don't care. It'll be fun no matter what. We'll just put it that way. But I think it's gonna really like be surreal after the first of the year.
It is going to definitely be surreal after the first of the year. I think what's going to get real surreal is when we go through the garage and we get rid of all the trash and we have our stuff in totes. Because that's something that me and Justin are planning on doing is getting rid of all the boxes and putting them in totes.
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't want to have boxes in the truck and then
Yeah.
we take something with us.
Yeah.
Something tags a ride. But I figure we start going through the garage. Again, now peace of mind for myself.
Yeah.
You know, to where we have this wooden shelving that our neighbors across the street got rid of and they put out here. Gave us more room in the garage. It's a really nice shelving, but we're not going to take it with us. Probably just going to leave it here because you can't. Where are we going to put that in an apartment?
Yeah.
You can't. But we can start using that shelving to put like the totes and like I have labels in the junk drawer over there, you know, like bedroom or kitchen or decoration, whatever. But we can start labeling that stuff of John and Michelle's. That's how we can put it. Same thing within the house. You know, we have
totes and stuff.
Totes. Yeah, I already told John I'm just going to go ahead and everything that's under the sink, I'm just going to go ahead and put it in the empty tote that I emptied out. I mean, might as well.
Yeah, might as well start packing it up. It's not like we're gonna. It's all the stuff that we're not gonna need.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about like
keep the minimal stuff, like his soap that he uses, my body wash, shampoo. Like if we buy the body wash, shampoo, and stuff, it'll go underneath the sink, obviously. But just looking at things and going through things, you know, that it'll be more surreal. It'll be more of an effect and take effect and
all that fun
whatnot.
stuff.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I think
it is time for us to go.
Yes.
Tired. I need to finish typing up the Yorkshire Ripper. I got like 4 more pages to type up, and I'm pretty sure 2 of them are going to be rants. You're gonna hear me. She's gonna hear me angrily typing. Yeah. At one point, I'll stop using because I usually type like this. At one point, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna start typing like this. Because I'm so mad.
Chicken peck.
Yeah, I'm gonna chicken peck because I'm so mad. Big stretch. And then I gotta go to work at 10 o'clock at night tonight.
Yes, she does. And then I gotta be there at 5. Why? Nobody tells me.
Probably because you guys are gonna. It's gonna be that they're gonna try to get as much freight done as possible.
Rolling rocks and stuff.
Probably also because Rick is walked and was like, "Why does your stuff look like this?"
Yeah, I mean, I will say if I'm not in the fitting room, I'll be happy with that too, because I don't mind having a break from the fitting room every once in a while. But I have a feeling I'll probably be like, or I help him zone for the 2 hours and then go be in the fitting room. There you go, Patty.
Okay, so we're gonna go now. Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
Oh, 2
That sounds about right. We were supposed to get 5 double trucks this week. So bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.